observation, get your pencil, and let's get started. All right, how to pencil draw flowers. So I actually looked at these flowers. I had a photograph of them, and I have you start in the middle and go out like that. All right, so on your composition, I'm gonna do 2 in the time you do 1. The way I had these flowers is you start in the middle, you go out, around, off the page, and back into the center. All right, so start with a low start, go up and around. Now I'm gonna do 2 in the time you guys do 1, because you guys slowly like to take your time. I don't want to rush anyone, and B, I want to show you 2 times so it stays with you. So you're gonna go right off the edge. Now, one artist, world famous artist, George O'Keeffe, got famous for going right off the edge, zooming in. That's called macrophotography. So you're gonna go to the middle, and you're gonna come up, follow that line across, go out, around, in, and down. All right, you guys saw how to do that? Look at the key. And then let's do it on my small postcard one, and I'm doing one right on my book to come off. You're gonna follow that line, come up, come off the edge if you have an edge, come around and down. Look at the shape of these and how we're slowing down with each flower petal in order to get the shapes of the petals. Then we're gonna add shading to make it look dimensional. All right, so our next petal is that one. All right, so you start right there in the middle. You come out following that last line, right? Then right here, you're gonna swoop it in around, look at the shape of it, and then come back in. Now, each of yours might look a little different, that's okay. All right, now I'm gonna come and do it like it's curled. So I'm gonna do a little curl. Oh, my other postcard is flying. Ah, should we let it go with the wind to the fish? No, I grabbed it, yes. All right, so see that edge curl there? That's what I'm talking about, that curl right there. So you're gonna get it, bring it across, and when you get to the edge, attach it like that, okay? So look at that edge right there. Now, before we go to the next flower, I'm gonna help you with your dimension. You're gonna get in this middle, it's like a little star shape. If that's a circle in the middle, you come out with each petal. Pretty cool, right? And then your lines, instead of shading and circularization, if I could get you to do shading in lines in the direction of the way that God made the shading, the lines actually, the pinker part of this flower, or you could do purple, blue, you could do yellow, you could do whatever color flower you want. You can even do polka dotted flowers, create your own flowers. Ooh. So what I'm doing is pressing a little harder here for shading or tone, and then I'm letting up with the side of my pencil and getting a little lighter as it gets toward the petal. Okay, then I'm gonna get really light there. Then I'm gonna, on the petal where that curl is, have the curl, you see the direction my pencil is going? To show that it's curved, I'm going around the way the curl would come inward. Okay, do you see how that's gonna be darker? And if you do that, then you shade it out with a little circularization. Don't get too dark, because right under here, you're gonna get your darkest dark is under, where there's absence of light to do a shadow under there, okay? So I'm gonna just go around. And now you know why I'm doing 2 in the time you do 1, so that way, ooh, if your curl comes in and under, you should have a little shadow down there too. So that way I have 2 in the time you do 1. Spend a little longer on that. Remember, we're on this petal right here. So you go to the middle, come out, around, in, and it's kind of more of a triangular shape. And like I said, I looked at my photography. Now you're gonna do the curl, 2 ways of doing it. This one I'm doing it a different way, and you go and do that little star type pattern. Then you have your lines, see it right there, going out, 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 starting a little darker in the middle, getting lighter as you go out. All right, so if you could do that on each of yours and have your lines go out, pressing darker in the center and getting lighter at the ends of the flower, and then making your edges a little more crisp and not sloppy out of the lines, getting your edges, making them a little crisp like that, which is staying in the lines and going with the flow of the direction of your flower, right? You're gonna have a little more dimension. And you know how we're gonna end this, right? Shading it out with our finger, getting a little messy with blending. Ooh, look what's under there, a shadow. All right, so now I'm doing it on this one. Your next petal, you can see there's a shadow under there. And like I said, I used my photography of these flowers, of primary observation, observing flowers. So I'm coming off the page. See that? my flower is going right off the page. Now I'm going in the middle. So it's best if you could observe or look at something or a photo of it and zoom in, guys, right? So you see that petal? Like that. From the center, if you have room, do the whole petal around like that. If you don't, it's really cool. And George O'Keeffe got famous for doing macrophotography, is now what we call it in photography, when you zoom in really close and show just a part of it. So your center would be there. If you have room, add that center, and then your lines would go this direction, remember? Okay. So we're doing this on each of those. Let me do that petal right here. Remember, I'm doing 2 in the time you do 1. This petal comes in around, circles back in around there. You want to leave room for this one more little guy right in there. Okay, so if that little guy needs that much room, call that little guy, that petal, that little guy. And then this one comes around, and it's a little bigger. Let's sketch out, plan out, map out where your last 2 petals are going to be. 1, 2. Okay? All right. 1, 2. See how I mapped or planned them out? Ooh, I did better on that, didn't I? All right. Now I'm going to try to work fast. Guess what? If I did better, if that flower looks better than this, we can use these things called erasers. Yay! Okay, so I'm trying to not hit perfection. Obviously, I have not hit perfection yet, not until heaven, but showing you could also erase. So this next one's going to come in and down from behind that one. This one's going to come in and down, okay? All right, got it. Got it. And right in there, see that depth? How did I get that depth? Darkness. Darkness, absent of light. It's right in there in between the petals. Now you guys, darkness, where there's absence of light, where there's a shadow there, and that shadow there can be all overlapped a little bit, but we're gonna work on the darkest dark right now, that shadow right there. And this one I'm working on right now is the postcard, just a little card that then we can watercolor on top of our pencil drawing. Another class, there's no rush. If you want to do this in one time or split it up, but now I'm doing a little circularization right there to do a little more blending where the shadow is, and I'll do that right there as well. Okay, so how did I say we're gonna fix this one? The one on my big art pad. You could do it on a big pad, a little pad, any kind of pad you want, but we're gonna start doing what we're doing on my postcard on here, the same idea. Okay, so it'll take a little longer, spend a little longer to spend your time. And this is where I'm going to get this petal and bring it out a little larger here and add that curl. Okay, so remember I messed up on that, so I changed the shape of that petal, got it back on track. So if you mess up, change the shape of your petals. And the cool thing is God created flower petals like us humans. Each one is different. And so you can't really mess up. You could add an extra curl there. I made that extra line. And here I don't have that much of a curl. So I'm gonna go with it. Go with it, guys. Go with your shapes of your flowers. They could all be a little different. Each have their own personality. You can even do like a little smiley in there and make a smiley face petal. You can be creative, all right? So what we're doing is adding tone, shading in the same way I showed you for each flower petal. Right, with the lines going outward, like that. Okay, see the shading? Right, now what I'm doing is mapping out and laying out both flowers. Then I'm going to spend time with this leaf underneath, coming out and out, going down and then doing the veins. I signed my name on the leaf. I suggest that, just like Van Gogh signed his name on the sunflower for his Van Gogh sunflowers. All right, second one. It's around there. So if that's my first one, plan out your second one. I'd start with the middle. Oh, actually, it almost went to see this time, my postcard. So 2, I'm doing 2 in the time you do 1, there's the middle. All right, then pick a petal to start with. Ooh, I'm gonna pick the petal with the droplet. So I'm gonna pick the petal with the droplet. I'm gonna come around, do a really big one, around and in. You could go bigger than this flower. You don't have to stay that small. Then we're gonna spend time on the droplet by doing a circle to do the droplet, a little curve for reflection, and the little shadow would be underneath it. So watch out, I'm doing that shadow underneath on that side, and then if that's the droplet, I'm gonna do a shadow on this side, underneath. How cool is that if I could teach you to do a droplet? Then don't forget, if you watercolor, color pencil, paint, if you add color to your flower, leave the droplet clear, or add just a little curve where that curve is, a blue maybe so it looks like water. That'd be great. All right, so this one, I have this little curve. For this one, I'm not going to do the shading yet. I'm going to do all the flower petals. All right, so I did one petal. There's your Bible verse. I would pause it on there if you're going to write peace come to me, Jesus, Matthew 11:28, or pick your favorite verse. Okay, this petal I'm going to curve around. This one's a little more curvy and bumpy, I think. Look at the way God created that petal. Like I said, I actually looked at my photography and slowly went around the shape of the petals as I looked at them. Now, if it looks a little squished there, go right off the page. Remember, that's what Georgia O'Keeffe was, the first artist who went right off the page and zoomed in the flowers and got famous for it. And her art is in galleries. Okay, so then you go in here for the middles, go out. Remember, I was going to spend just a little bit of time. I want to lay out all the petals. All right, 1, 2, let's do this petal, and then we'll do the petal behind it. So that's around the bottom there. Got that petal. This one has another little curve and in. Okay, I'm going to add a little curve. And then I did another layer of that petal, and that way if I change it, that's actually going to look like it's curled in. Ooh, I might like the shape of this one better than that. Okay, so if I did 1, 2, 3 petals, why did I do this one first? Because this one's behind it. So it's coming out from around it, behind it, curve in, curve in. Now over here is a leaf, so I'm just going to go like that. I didn't do the veins on this leaf like I did on the other one, but I'd show you real fast how to do a vein. So when you color it, you remember that's green if you go like that, right? You do the veins in the leaf. Just show that's a leaf, then you can have the shading, or you could do it in color. All right, one more petal. Let's get this lesson done. All right, so, and then you're going to be able to talk to your friends. After you follow along, you get the shapes. Okay, so the last one, look at where it's coming out with, and do your curve. All right, now on my source here, where I use photography of real flowers, they were overlapping. That'd be really cool, and to get some dark in there. And that's where, if you leave a gap like this, you're gonna have a little more shading to do than I had in that original one. Shading in there. Okay, shading, a little darkness. Ooh, now what do you see around there? Another leaf. So I'm gonna add right behind there another leaf. Add my veins there, so I remember when I add color that that's gonna be a leaf. And my shading is just gonna, let me do some circularization. Now over here is my verse about peace. Let me show you how I do a P. P. Ooh, see that dimensional P? Fancy, right? P, E, for peace. Can you join in? Now there's a lot of different Bible verses at peace. P, E. If you mess up, erase. That's why we're starting with pencil. A. C. Now Jesus said, peace be still. And now I am at the water here. So at the water and waves. Waves, he said, peace be still. So there's a lot of different verses. This one says, peace, come to me, Jesus. Jesus' word. So the E. Peace. You could just write the word peace. Do dot, 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 and then write Jesus. J-E-S-U-S. Because he's the one who said it. And if you want to write Matthew, M-A-T-T, 11:28, you could tell I spent longer on this one. I'm trying to be fast on this lesson and then give you guys time to finish it. Now let's look at the leaves. All right, see how that leaf goes curve, curve? Let's do it. Let's do a really big leaf. Curve, curve, right off the page. Get your leaf veins in there. Pretty cool that I have some guys playing some music on the bench over here. They said they didn't mind at all, no problem, that I was here videotaping for my class. So I moved over so I wouldn't get in their view. All right, my next leaf, boom, boom, coming out from this direction and out and under that flower. Okay, so that's where all your nice dark shading is going to be, under there, curve, and right off the page. Make your veins on your leaf will remind you where to add your shading, and then I'm going to just like probably dab on some watercolor, do something really dark in the background. All right, so what I'm going to spend time now on, I'm going to give you lots of time in class to do, is add all your shading. And how to do that, remember, I teach you guys circularization, add the lines going from the middle, like this. I'm gonna come around and help you guys if you need it. Obviously, I didn't do my second one. I said I was gonna do 2 in the time you guys do 1. Should I do it? You want me to keep playing, or do you want me to pause it and let you finish on your own? Ooh. How about we'll pause this video lesson, finish in class, and you can pause it at this part to get all your pencil drawing done. Then you get to decide, ooh, do I want to keep this as a pencil drawing? Or do I want to add color? I suggest you photograph it in black and white like it is now. So you have 2 versions. You could have one version that is actually, I think my postcard just flew out to sea. I hope the fish like it. One version that is actually in black and white like this. And you could have one version that is in color. All right, over now from today's lesson. Peace out, my friend. What a peaceful view.